welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, August 3rd, and I'm your host, Erin Crowley, filling in for Kristen. On Sunday night, the Concerts on the Common celebrated 25 years of providing summer entertainment to the residents of Norwood. Over 100 members of the community came out for the Pops Night celebration. Norwood's own Ernie Bach took over the MC role and introduced the night's entertainment, Natalie Jolie and the Reckless Hearts Band. It was a great night full of food, fun, and dancing.
Well, she was an American girl, raised on promises. She couldn't help thinking that there was a little more life somewhere else. After all, it was a great big world with lots of places to run to. Yeah, she had to die, cry and see.
The Concerts on the Common will continue every Sunday night at 7 p.m. until August 26th. This week's entertainment is Tom Newtile Big Band. If you've driven near the high school this week, then you've noticed that a section of Nichols Street has been closed off between Peabody Street and the Rotary. The reason for this road closure is the water department of the DPW replacing outdated water services. Most of the houses on this section of Nichols Street are still using an old iron pipe, which after many decades has built up rust and is affecting the flow of the water. The DPW is removing the old iron pipes and replacing them with longer lasting and more durable copper pipes. For more on the reasoning behind the change, we go to Director of Public Works, Mark Ryan.
Hi everyone, Mark Ryan here from the Public Works Department. I'm standing out on Nichols Street in front of Norwood High School, and this summer we're going to be paving Nichols Street in front of the high school. But before we do that work, the water department is out replacing antiquated water services. These are water services that were installed in the 30s and 40s. They're susceptible to corrosion and leaks will occur. So right now the water department is working on their second of 5 water services that they have to replace. And essentially what they're doing is digging down about 5 feet to the water service and removing this old iron pipe. And you can see the pipe has a lot of accumulation of rust on it. The interior has also been compromised over time, and so there's not much volume going through. So we'll take that piece out, we'll get rid of it, and we'll put in a nice new piece of copper in there, and this is long-lasting, durable material that is used throughout the town. So if you come up to Nichols Street near the high school this week, you are going to be detoured, but it's for a purpose to get ready for paving this summer. Thank you everyone, and hope you're having a great summer.
Thanks for the update, Mark. Stay tuned after this break to find out about a national award won by a Norwood resident and learn all about Bike Safety Day.
Stop by the Norwood Morrill Memorial Library and check out magazines, newspapers, DVDs, and of course, books. The library also offers a variety of services, including passport renewal, a notary, and tutoring, with multiple different meeting rooms which can be booked for your convenience. Take advantage of online digital resources and get assistance with all of your research needs. Kids can enjoy the children's room stocked with books and toys. There are also a variety of programs for children and adults. And if you can't make it into the library can come to you with home delivery. The library is open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. To learn more, go to www.norwoodlibrary.org.
Welcome back. Last Saturday, the Norwood Police Department teamed up with the Norwood Bike Depot and Norwood Bank to host the annual Bike Safety Day. Employees of the Bike Depot were giving free bike tune-ups and fixing any broken bikes. Members of the police department were on hand to give away and fit free helmets to the children in attendance.
Yeah, we do a bike safety day. We do it every year in the spring or summer, and it's to make sure the kids have helmets, that their bikes are in good operating condition, because we don't want kids falling off or getting themselves injured. So we run this bike safety day. I think it's important for people to know that it's put on by the police department, primarily our school resource officers, and our sponsors are the Norwood Bike Depot. They do all of the repairs free of charge. If the bikes need parts, they're picked up by Norwood Bank. We're here on their property. And they sponsor us as well and pick up the cost of the parts. And then David White, who is an attorney from Boston, who does a lot of personal injury work, he donates the helmets. And we put Norwood police stickers on them, but those helmets were all provided by Attorney White. So it's a real joint effort between the four groups, or the four of us, to put this on. For a few years we did it in South Norwood at the Ball School, but it's a little bit easier to do it on the property that backs right up to the bike depot, so that they can get their compressed air and some of the things they need to do some of the more extensive repairs. So right at 1 o'clock we had a line that had formed of kids with their bikes, with their parents, and we're giving out free helmets. Officer Rooney from the bike unit is fitting the helmets of the kids so that they fit properly, and all we want them to do is have a safe summer on their bicycles, and that's what it's all about.
I think it's really nice too to have the support of the local businesses, Norwood Bank, as well as Norwood Police, giving out helmets. I'm a bike racer myself, been racing for almost 30 years now, and it's really important safety-wise to make sure the kids know the rules of the road, know the basics of how a bike works, and so what they're doing here today is fantastic. Keep everybody safe.
We just want kids to wear helmets. If they got their own, that's fine. If they don't have one, they want to wear one of ours, we'll provide that to them, and that's really what this is all about. It's also a good chance for the kids to get to know the officers and get to know them by name. We're handing out our new trading cards to any of the kids who are here, just so that the kids get to know the officers by name and feel like they have a connection. So there's a bit of that going on as well.
Thanks to all the groups that came together to put on this great event. It was just announced that Alex Orfanos, a Norwood resident, was awarded first place at the Alliance of Community Media Award Show. The Alliance for Community Media is a national membership organization that advocates, promotes, and preserves the right to media training, production, distribution, civic engagement, and education in support of diverse community voices through public, educational, and government access channels, and other forms of media. Every year, the Alliance holds a national conference that is headlined by an award show. Community media stations from all around the country submit programs to be judged for the awards. Alex's show, titled Today in Space, was entered into the audio podcast category and was selected by the judge as the winner.
Sure. So what was it like when I found out about the award? I mean, I've been doing the show for 4 years, and the internet's a harsh place. You don't get a lot of feedback right away when you're a tiny show, but to put it on Norwood, have it be a Norwood show, and then to see it out in Baltimore on a TV, people clapping, and people dressed up to come see it. I mean, that was amazing. The fact that I'm part of Norwood, to bring home the win, that's amazing. So I'm really happy to be a part of it. It was awesome.
Congratulations, Alex. We here at Norwood Community Media are happy to have you as a part of our team. To catch Today in Space, tune into the Norwood Community Media Town Channel or search our video on demand library at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out everything that is happening in your local government. Welcome back to Norwood News. On Tuesday afternoon, the Townwide Facilities Committee continued their ongoing discussion regarding possible consolidation of services falling under the Facilities Management Department. Members heard from Jeff Nutting, Town Administrator for Franklin, about creating a joint facilities department. The upkeep of school grounds and buildings was absorbed by Franklin's Department of Public Works, and Nutting emphasized that this change was a success.
Their concerns were loss of control, you won't take care of us. They were buying snow blowers, we were buying snow blowers. They were buying plows, we were buying them. It was ridiculous. It was duplication of effort. They had a high cost of snow removal. They weren't reinvesting the money in the facilities. They didn't have a really good grounds department. So these were why I thought it was a good idea. We weren't going to save a lot of money, but we were going to reinvest in the school. And I think if you reach out to the school folks, you know, within 2 months they go, this is the best thing that ever happened. You know what? I pick up the phone. I get response because you remember when I wanted this to happen, it wasn't going to fail. You know, I'm not putting my name, my reputation out there, and then have this doesn't work, this doesn't get fixed. So, you know, the first summer we dumped a boatload of resources into the grounds and into the schools, and we never looked back. We also work closely with the school committee. You know, they have a building use policy where they charge fees for the gym, the cafeteria, those things. And then we added on a facilities fee that they you know, so much an hour, you know, if you're renting the gym, it's X, if you're renting the auditorium, it's Y, and that money goes into a revolving account that we then use to reinvest in the schools. For energy efficiency, or, you know, we're finishing up a total LED of every building next year. Every school building will be totally LED'd.
Joe McDonough, Facilities Director for Wellesley, also spoke about his own experience with a switch to a joint facilities department.
So Wellesley tried it and failed the first time. They tried a joint facilities department, and it failed miserably. Everybody took their ball and went home after about a year and a half.
What year was that?
It was 2008-9 maybe, and they put together a group just like you. They called it the Ad Hoc Maintenance Committee, and so I think Dave has a copy of this. This is the PowerPoint that was presented at the 2012 annual town meeting that ultimately led to the creation of our department. So this gives you a little bit of background. But, you know, they had lack of detailed plans, multiple bosses, no consensus on approach, inadequate maintenance, inadequate preventive maintenance, inadequate funds. And the biggest one, which we've all been talking about, is being forced to choose between your core mission, education, public safety, library, whatever it is, and maintenance. And I can tell you, we're in our 7th year now, and the principals, the superintendent, police chief, fire chief, they love it. Couldn't be happier, because they get to focus on what they get hired for, and they don't worry about air handling units and boilers going down and whether or not the bathrooms are clean.
Norwood's own General Manager Tony Mazzucco also spoke about a similar consolidation plan for the town of Maynard. School committee member Mayev Bodenhofer noted that all of the examples they heard about require an investment up front.
Although it did sound to me like they were both recommending that there's an investment up front, right? Absolutely. Like it's certainly not a year one savings. It sounds like both towns believe that they're now getting more efficiency and they're getting better services for the same amount of money, but it's not like they had a cut to their bottom line.
Right, I don't think that's the goal.
Committee members agreed that they needed time to absorb the information and consider it as they moved forward with their own plan. They then discussed a spreadsheet detailing different facility costs throughout the town, a timeline for their plan's implementation, and current problems with facilities. They will meet again on August 21st. The Finance Commission met on Wednesday night. Members first looked at some documents comparing the draft of financial policies to those of other towns. Chair Alan Slater pointed out that in comparison to some neighboring communities, the town has not accrued a large amount of general debt.
And just very quickly, you know, there's a couple of tables on general debt. I mean, Norwood is excellent there. We don't have a significant amount of debt on, you know, that goes on the tax rate compared to some of the other communities. Again, I think this is just shows what a good job we've done.
Yeah, look at the wealthy town of Wellesley, 139
right. Look at Wellesley.
$1 million of debt.
Right, Wellesley and Needham in particular, you know, are very, very high.
Slater also noted that Norwood does well in regards to pension funding.
The last one I just wanted to show is something on the funding of the pension fund. This shows how Norwood is compared to other towns. Actually, we're number 2 in this list. Dedham, for whatever reason, is number 1. But we're at 80% funding, and according to the DOR projections, we should be 100% funded by 2028. And of course, we still want to contribute some additional money just so we build up a little bit of reserve. So.
General Manager Tony Mazzucco specifically highlighted, as he has in previous meetings, the town's lack of free cash flow.
Just one point that's always important to remember on free cash, the way we're structured with the light department, we generate a lot more free cash, or we should, than other communities. So when you look at our actual free cash generation, subtracting out light receipts, it's not as strong of a number as it should be. I always point to last year, we generated $5 million in free cash. 1.7 million was a bond premium. The town turnover, I believe, is 1.5, Tom. So that leaves 1.8, but the light department profits that went in for effectively, that was about a $4 to $6 million number. So where did a couple $1 million in free cash go? It was mostly revenues that came in substantially under projected. So we should be generating a lot more than any of these other communities, Wellesley included, and we're not. So that's an inherent weakness.
Members then began reviewing the actual draft itself. This is the third draft of financial policies that Mazzucco has presented, and he noted that most of the changes were linguistic. The draft includes items like capital improvement planning, debt management, fee policies, OPEB, and stabilization funds. Members wrapped up the meeting discussing revenue projections. The Conservation Commission also met on Wednesday. A notice of intent from Kelly Engineering representing Moderna Therapeutics and a notice of intent from United Consultants representing Joseph Robichaux were discussed. United Consultants filed the notice of intent to remove and replace foundations. Committee member Joseph DiMaria was concerned with the lack of labeling on the plans that were presented.
Unfortunately, your recharge areas are not labeled. I looked at this plan for a couple of hours and couldn't find them. I see cross-hatched areas that aren't labeled. I originally thought they were parking, but it was too small. And will you please label your plan? It's kind of very difficult to decipher from a plan. I have no idea where these drains go to, particularly on this small size that I was looking at. It looks like it all went out into the street. And I don't see any oil and water separators shown on the plan that you submitted. Is it on this plan? Because I really don't see a whole lot.
I mean, again, Joe, they may not be specifically labeled. This is an oil water separator, that is an oil water separator, and that is an oil water separator.
You don't even have a key. I mean, you need to do that. You need to do that so that you have some idea of what they are and where the drainage is. I can't follow the drainage if I don't know what's being separated and what's going back in the ground and what's going out to the city sewer, city drain system. There's no specific area where you show parking. I hate to make assumptions that it's between buildings, but where's the parking?
Members decided to table the notice of intent until the next meeting. Following this decision, the CPA representative, the treasurer, and the conservation agent all gave reports. The meeting wrapped up with new and old business. The commission will meet again on Wednesday, August 15th. On Thursday night, the Permanent Building Construction Committee continued discussions about the St. Gabriel's Chapel renovation project. Bids have been submitted by contractors for the masonry work, and members discussed who they believe the contract should be awarded to. A motion was made to reject the proposal of the low bidder, MJS.
So we have a motion to reject the first bidder.
Well, I'll make the motion.
Okay, you'll make the motion.
That the Permanent Building Construction Committee rejects the low bid submitted by MJS for the renovations to the St. Gabriel Chapel. We have done this at careful vetting of his proposal, and we find that the OPM has recommended that we do this, and so forth and so on. I don't want to put a letter together, but...
Yeah. All right, so that's the motion. I'll second it.
No, you can't second. Bill will second.
I'll second it. Bill will second, okay. And now we have a vote. Bill?
Yes, I would agree.
And yes?
No.
No. Okay, 3-1.
You're not voting?
3-1.
3-1.
No, it's no good. We have no quorum.
Oh, yeah.
If we only
Why
have
are you
a minimum
against this?
of 4,
Yeah,
then we have, it has to be unanimous.
You're right. we only have quorum.
Okay.
So I think,
Well,
I think it's likely to
you
get
can't
challenged
table
either
it.
way.
You can't table it until next week.
But we also can't let it keep pushing out further.
No, I
You know,
understand,
I
but
mean, just to get something going in
Well,
September.
why don't you give us your thoughts?
I'm not comfortable with the way the qualifications are on the spec. I'm not sure that we have anything as a mandatory requirement, or we haven't. Based on what I've seen, I'm not sure that we have a slam dunk that this would be, be upheld. I think you got somebody who is, got a certificate of eligibility, able to qualify to do this work, shows historic masonry, has decent references overall. I mean, there's flaws with any, you're gonna find some stuff we'll call back on anybody. It certainly feels more risky to go with a newer firm and a smaller firm.
Member Stephen O'Connor explained that he felt MJS was a more qualified company despite some negative references. Kathy Carney was concerned about their lack of manpower.
yeah.
Well, it has to be awarded based on the best interest of the town.
Right, and none of us are
And-
taking this lightly.
Right,
None of us
and-
want to, squelch an opportunity for
But to look at it and to think that there might be not enough manpower to award a contract to somebody who
More supervision.
is coming out with that information, that's not awarding in the best interest of the town if your 6-month project is gonna end up being a 9-month project, and then you've got additional costs associated with, engineering or design or OPM or whatever. That's not in the best interest of the town if you're going to award on it.
Right.
After an on-the-record recommendation from the OPM, Stephen O'Connor's vote changed and the motion to reject the proposal was approved. A motion was then made and approved to award the contract to the second low bid, Spillane. The Shea Company was discussed as the low bid for the Lantern project, but references are still needed. The meeting wrapped up with members deciding to attend the upcoming Selectmen's meeting to discuss the town hall renovations. The committee will meet again on August 9th. Also on Thursday night, the Forbes Hill Task Force met in the community room at the Police and Fire Department. Many topics were discussed during the 2.5-hour meeting. The meeting began with a presentation by Paul Halkiotis on the potential of selling the Forbes Hill property and the steps that would need to be taken for that process to begin.
There's been a little bit of back and forth about whether or not this should be an invitation to bid process or a request for proposals process. I'm not going to speak to that issue, but what I do want to talk to the task force about are what things are important to the community when we decide to sell this property. How are we going to evaluate the project proposals that come in, and what information do we want to convey to the people that are going to be submitting proposals about the things that are important to the town.
Following an hour-and-a-half discussion on the different types of proposals and fiscal impacts that this project could have on the town, the conversation moved to what the town needs to do to help this project move forward.
In the RFP type of process we were just talking about, we're basically saying to the bidders, here's the underlying zoning, and we're considering, if you want to bid on residential and so forth, we're going to weight that, so for me, that's saying we're going to consider that. And we, this would all be spelled out in the whole front end of the bid specs and everything. This was just kind of the evaluation process itself, as Paul went over tonight. But basically, in layman's terms, we'd be saying, we're going to consider your proposals, and then we're going to go back to town meeting and say we need this zoning for it to allow it to happen. And you're asking them to put in a lot of time and money, resources, to put together all the information you asked for to do that evaluation, without ever knowing if you even have the right to sell it, are going to be allowed to sell it. I mean, we could go to town meeting in November and they could say, no, we want to keep it. We're not going to sell it. And they've done all that work and spent all that time and energy and money for nothing. And that, to me, all the contractors, the bankers, the developers, everyone we've spoken to, and I know I've called a few of these people on my own. I've kind of mentioned it at different meetings, but I've had those conversations, you haven't. But all of them lead me to believe the more that is available to them up front, the more that they know the town's serious and that they have a chance of getting this property to go forward with their proposals, the more likely they're going to participate and the more higher the price they're going to be willing to offer.
The next meeting for the Forbes Hill Task Force will be held August 16th at the Police and Fire Community Room. To watch complete government coverage on demand, go to norwoodcommunitymedia.org.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys so much for having us. I hope you guys had a great time.
Welcome back, and now for some school news. New high school principal Dr. Hugh Galligan has announced the new members to the NHS leadership team. Cindy Durain will serve as the interim vice principal for the 2018-2019 school year. Cindy has been a teacher and foreign language department chair for over 20 years. John Serenides, who has been a social studies teacher and coach for many years, will serve as the new freshman dean. And foreign language teacher Jess Kaplan was named interim foreign language department chair. As a reminder, the first day back for teachers is Tuesday, September 4th, and students return on Thursday, September 6th. Speaking of schools, there was a 30-foot humpback whale spotted at the Coakley Middle School this week. On Wednesday, the Recreation Department and the Morrill Memorial Library teamed up to put on this great event for the junior play camp. Nile, the whale-mobile, found its way to the gym of the Coakley so the kids could learn all about whales. At first, they were given a tour of the outside of the whale and then went into the body to learn even more. At the end of the day, everyone had a whale of a time. Thank you to the library and the rec department for putting on this event. As we have mentioned in previous newscasts, the Norwood Community Media Lights Camera Summer video workshop is in full swing. The students of Week 4 have been hard at work learning studio production and then field production. They have put together another great LCS morning edition for us. This week, Bridget Connolly sat down with recently retired Prescott principal Brianne Killian. Let's take a look at one of the interviews the children produced this week.
Hi, I'm Bridget, and today I'm here with Miss Brianne Killian, who is the principal of the Prescott for how many years?
I was there for 29 years.
How's retirement going so far?
It's going great. It's been a busy summer. I got away for a couple of weeks down the Cape with my family and my two grandsons who are 6 months and 18 months old. So that was a lot of fun. So it's been a great start to the summer.
Do you miss the kids from school?
I do miss the kids. I think when I left, that was one of the things that I thought for sure I would miss the most were the students and the families and the teachers, of course, because there was just so many great people at that school. But I know I'll see them because I'll still be involved in different things.
So what's like the biggest change about like your lifestyle?
I don't worry anymore. I used to worry constantly about everything having to do with school. Number one, whether the kids were learning, how the teachers were doing, were we keeping up with technology? So I was constantly worrying about things, and all of those worries are gone.
Mm-hmm. So have you like celebrated your retirement in any part of your?
There were so many celebrations, I can't even begin to start. So on June 14th, the teachers and the staff threw me a big retirement party at the Colonial. And then at the end of school on field day, the PTO dedicated an outdoor classroom to me with a beautiful sign. The last day of school, the teachers and the kids made up a dance, and the teachers danced and the kids sang to a Fleetwood Mac song that I absolutely love. And then finally, the final party kind of thing was that we went to Fenway Park, students and parents and myself, and they put my name up on the Jumbotron. So I got a great picture of that. So it was just celebration after celebration. It was wonderful.
So I know you're ahead of the Prescott Press for a while. Do you know the future of the program?
I'm hoping that a couple of my teachers were starting to dabble with video and things like that, so I'm hoping that they will take it over. I'm hopeful that that will happen. We have all the equipment now, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. So I'm definitely hoping that that continues.
So thank you so much for coming in. So now back to the day.
Great job, Bridget. Earlier this week, the town manager, Tony Mizuko, officially swore in the new town clerk, Mary Lou Folan. Congratulations, Mary Lou, on the new position. It is very well deserved. Well, that's all for Norwood News this week. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.